Hey guys, I hope you're enjoying your holiday, President's Day off. I've been sitting here trying to get a little grading done, but I thought I'd make a quick video about um, the snow because I think people are sometimes too hard on um, weathermen. And here we are. Those of you who saw me show this in class, this is my favorite weather site, AccuWeather. I don't know if it's my favorite because it's the most accurate. I don't really know that, but I like it because of the way it illustrates um, probability of events like this. And see, it breaks it down into some probabilities. And I think what that shows you is that it really is about predicting the weather is about mathematics, and it's about mathematical models where you fill in information and then it makes an estimate and then it gives you a probability. And I think these are our two events. Um, and I think one thing you need to know is how unusual it is to have these two events. I saw a weatherman who's been working in this area for about 30 years said only 10% of the weather events he ever deals with have been 4 inches of snow or more. So to have two of those back to back is a really kind of a rare event no matter what. But I just wanted to talk a little bit about the probability and what you should expect and realize that just because that doesn't do what the weatherman said one way or the other doesn't mean he was wrong. It just means he's trying his best to gamble, really, to bet on what's going to happen. So here are the two events. And by the way, these numbers keep changing. Um, the probabilities change as the models continue to go. I've seen this one have the 8 to 12 at 60% at one point. It's kind of moved down. Usually, as the events get closer, the models get better. As you can see, it's pretty likely we're going to get 6 to 10 inches of snow today. I saw the local weatherman think he thinks it's going to be at least 8. We'll just have to wait and see, obviously, as we're just kind of getting started. But um, I want to show you this because I think it just gives you an idea of what can happen. So on this first event, the snow that we're getting right now, it certainly looks like the most likely thing that's going to happen is we're going to get 6 or more inches of snow. That comes in at about 64%. That's almost 2/3. That's the likelihood. If you add those three together, you get 64. And then obviously there's a chance we'll only get, there's a 3 to 6, which again is still a pretty significant snow for us, and really only a 2% chance we're not going to get a significant snow. So that's what's going on. And then Wednesday going into Thursday, we have another event, and you can see that this is about 60% chance that we're going to get at least 4 inches, and about a 40% chance we get less than that, although it's still another 2 to 4. So I want to talk about just how you would calculate. Well, what's the likelihood that both things happen? That we get both 6 to 10 and 4 to 8. Well, when you're dealing with that improbability, what you do is you multiply them. So you would take 0.61 times 0.57. That would be the probability. When that product is the probability that we get in the 6 to 10 range, and then on Wednesday night we get in the 4 to 8 range. And that comes out, I'll type it in my calculator real quick, 0.61 times 0.57. It comes out right about 35, a little bit less, but basically 35. So really what we're looking at is about a 1/3 chance both things happen. So that's how probability works. So can we expect both these things to happen? Um, Not really. In fact, it's more likely they don't both happen than they do both happen because we're looking at about a 1/3 chance they both happen. So that means there's a 2/3 chance they don't. Now, what's the likelihood neither one happens? Well, the likelihood neither one happens is obviously going to be the 0.36 times the 0.4. By the way, I just got the text message that we're going to be doing remote tomorrow. That comes out to about 14%. So it is very likely that we get one or the other or both. It's only a 0.14. That's like a 1 in 8, I think. 14 divided by 100 is 7 out of 50. So, you know, 1/8 is a little bit less than that. So it's like a 1 out of 7, 1 out of 8 chance. So it's very, very likely either this one or this one happen or they both happen. So we don't know what's going to happen. And the weatherman, when he guesses, he doesn't know either. He's just looking at the best possible things he can look at. Now, he obviously has even more complicated tools than this. He has all kinds of graphs and charts and all sorts of things that he does that he can look at that gives him a little better way to bet on this than we do just with these probability models. But at least this gives you an idea why it might not be. I mean, think about it. That's even that number right there, even in at 1 out of 7 at 14 out of 100 times, or um, even if you had it at 1 out of 10, which is a lower number than that, that's pretty close to 3 out of 20, I guess. Um, it could happen. We could definitely get neither one of the major events. Now, what's the likelihood we get this less than two twice in a row? Well, that would be enormously small. So we're going to get some snow, and probably for us a significant amount. And then on top of that, we're going to get the cold. So just understand what's going on with the probabilities. They're not it is an exact science. They're having to do some guessing here. And I think these numbers are very telling. I think we're probably in for some pretty significant snow and some really significant cold over the next few days. Kids always ask me to what do I think about whether we'll be in school. Um, Obviously, I just told you we just got called off for tomorrow. At least we're remote. If we get the most likely event, which is one of these two events does happen, it's a pretty good chance we're not in school this week. Um, Again, I would say that if you want to ask me what the probability is we're not in school at all this week, I would put it at the 85%. I would say the 85, 86% chance that we're not going to be in school this week just because of the weather. Now, I've seen some pretty crazy models. Like I saw a recent model that had us getting 24 inches of snow this week. If that were to happen and it stays cold, we might miss Monday. So, we're just going to have to wait and see. I think this looks like we're going to probably get somewhere between 10 to 18 inches of snow is pretty likely over the next couple of days. Um, if it doesn't warm up, I'm not sure what that's going to do, although I have seen some forecasting says maybe it's going to warm up on Saturday and Sunday and clean the roads off enough. We'll just have to wait and see. But if we get a massive snowstorm like this, like what is possible and what they are suggesting could happen, a storm of that size could definitely not just impact this week. It could carry on into next week, particularly with the bitter cold that we're looking at. So be careful out there. Whatever you do, you shouldn't be driving. You're all too young to be driving on this nasty stuff. And, try to go out and maybe play in a little bit, but I don't think you're going to find it very fun to play in. It's kind of dry and it's unbelievably cold. So be safe out there and have a good week, guys.